Alright, so if you know anything about me, I don't usually care about superhero stuff. I barely upload superhero content on this channel because, quite frankly, it just doesn't interest me. Usually superhero stuff is really boring and formulaic and stale, and then every now and then we'll get a gem like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, we'll get a one-of-a-kind superhero movie that's so colossally terrible in every way that it's funny, like Wonder Woman 1984. So, when I tell you that I watched Invincible with a little bit of skepticism, it's for a good reason. I don't usually like this stuff, and this show starts out as a pretty standard superhero type thing. But then, by the end of episode 1, I was immediately hooked. The first 30 minutes of that first episode are standard superhero stuff, but then at the end, it just flips and everything changes, and it's so interesting because of it. This show was amazing. I was so shocked at how much I liked it. Not only do they start you off with this standard superhero stuff, but they use that standard superhero stuff to explore really dark and adult themes, like where our place in the world is, not necessarily trusting our family and friends and the people that we're supposed to trust, and not really knowing what we want to do with our lives. I think that these are really excellent themes to have in a superhero thing. And it certainly helps that the voice cast is amazing. J.K. Simmons, God bless that man. He is amazing in everything I've ever seen him in, and he's amazing in this. Furthermore, Steven Yeun, also that man is amazing. He is amazing in here. And then Jillian Jacobs. I'll take the opportunity to shout out an actor from Community every single opportunity I do, and Jillian Jacobs was amazing here. They all played these excellent, well fleshed out characters. My favorite being Omni Man. He's so layered and has so many different complex things going on with him. You never really know what he's thinking, and it's just so goddamn interesting. And then Steven Yeun plays the main character, Invincible, the title guy, and he has all these real life insecurities that are so grounded and realistic that I feel like anyone watching this can relate to him. I also really like the fact that the main character loses most of the fights that he's in. I think that is so refreshing in a superhero thing, that the main character doesn't just start kicking ass from day one. He kinda sucks at it throughout the whole show, and it makes me really, really happy. This show actually unironically reminded me of Game of Thrones, and I mean the good kind of Game of Thrones. You never really know who to trust. There are a lot of different layers to these characters' relationships. You never know who they're really aligned with and who they're gonna backstab at any moment. People get backstabbed constantly in this show, and there are so many different parties competing for power in this show. It's so goddamn interesting, and it really did remind me of Game of Thrones in that way. And then another way it reminded me of Game of Thrones was the action. This show is gruesome, and it's so well done. It's gruesome with a point. There's not just blood for the sake of shocking you. It has an actual thematic purpose being there. I honestly thought after watching Game of Thrones, no gore can ever shock me for the rest of my life, and yet somehow Invincible with this animated gore managed to blow me away. And another thing I want to praise about this show is the animation. The animation during these action scenes is some of the best 2D animation I've ever seen. It is so insanely complicated. Whoever animated those action scenes, props to you. You were not paid enough. It was amazing. And then that brings us to the negatives. Ironically, one of my favorite things about the show is also one of the worst things about the show, which is the animation. The animation in those action scenes are fantastic. It's drop dead gorgeous. But when you just have characters talking, it's very obvious that the budget just wasn't there, and that everyone's face just kind of looks flat, and it's hard to tell what emotion they were feeling. I never knew what emotion this guy was trying to express in the whole show. And then my other big negative with the show is Rexplode. Rexplode ruins entire scenes. The worst moments of this show is when I'll be enjoying a scene and then this guy just starts spewing words out of his idiot mouth. None of the jokes he makes are funny. He's just obnoxious. And the biggest thing that I don't understand about this show is he's so obnoxious in everything that he does. And yet this show wants us to believe that the people around him like him and tolerate him. It makes no sense. He really annoys me. He's the only character that doesn't feel fleshed out and doesn't feel like they have a character arc, and it's really, really annoying. Another thing, I don't think that this is really a negative for this season in particular. It's more so a concern I have moving forward. I really feel like all the things that I love about this show are specific to season 1. If you've seen the whole thing, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I'm really hesitant to believe that they can top this season or even make a season that's as good as this. It's just too good. It's too good for its own good. Who knows? Maybe season 2 will blow my socks off. I don't know. I'll see it when we get there. It's kind of hard to rate this show. I really, really love it. It feels better than an 8, but it doesn't feel good enough to be called a 9. And I know I'm gonna be a total hypocrite because I make fun of people for giving like half scores to things, but I have to. This is an 8.5 out of 10. Highly recommend it. It's amazing. The last 2 episodes of this season are absolutely perfect. You have to watch it. It's great. 100% would recommend. Yeah, follow me on social media. Goodbye.